collaborations with local businesses. Initially, they'll be just focused on returns and launch activities, but somebody needs to eat, somebody needs to have medical care. We still love our coffee. I want good coffee at our spaceports. The Australian Space Corridor, which is in Eucla, is specifically designed for polar launches and returns, while the Indo-Pacific Space Corridor in Christmas Island supports the equatorial launches. So not many countries, companies can actually say that in the world that we could do this at one location, one country, one state. Singapore Airlines has been training in Western Australia for a lot of their pilots for many, many years. There's a reason why they do that, because there's a lot of free airspace. We're the only state who understands fly-in, fly-out working culture.
Very true.
Okay. So for us to operate these spaceports in these regional locations, culture is there. Every family understands how to deal with this. I think we need more investments for space sector in Australia. There's a lot of downstream. So when we bring in the Go to Space piece, we'll have the full cycle of the whole thing. So can you imagine the amount of capability that we're going to build locally?
Space Angel respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners and custodians of the lands on which we operate. We honour their enduring connection to country, waters, land, space and community, and we pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. We recognise the rich cultural heritage, knowledge and traditions of all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, and are committed to fostering meaningful partnerships that celebrate and preserve their contributions to Australia's story. We would also like to thank the WA Museum, Bullabardip, for allowing us the opportunity to record this podcast in their To the Moon exhibit.
We've talked a lot about WA and why Space Angel is based in WA. There are a lot of strategic reasons why. Do you want to quickly give us a wrap of what that is?
Western Australia, the geographic position allows for efficient access to both the orbits, which is essential for various satellite missions and also deep space exploration. So the Australian Space Corridor, which is in Eucla, is specifically designed for polar launches and returns, while the Indo-Pacific Space Corridor, which is in Christmas Island, supports the equatorial launches. So not many countries, companies can actually say that in the world that we could sort of do this at one location, one country, one state.
So the benefit of that as well, obviously, is the fact that it's one government that you have to deal with.
Absolutely. So it reduces all the
red tape,
administrative hassles. So we are just, wherever you want to go to space and come back from space, you can do it from one place, one company, one state, and one set of rules. The other aspects is minimize launch restrictions. So remote locations in Western Australia provide ample of space for space launches and landings, reducing the risk of populated areas being affected by rocket operations. And isolation enhances safety for both launch activities and returns missions as well. You know that Singapore Airlines has been training in Western Australia for a lot of their pilots for many, many years. There's a reason why they do that, because there's a lot of ample of free airspace. So that's one of the other reasons. Very important, very recent, very strategic and key is the alignment with the AUKUS initiative. So Western Australia's strategic importance is heightened by its alignment for this as part of this AUKUS Defence Pact, which focuses on enhancing security cooperation between Australia, UK and the US, right? So this promotes, advancement in technology such as space and defense, and supporting the robust space industry in the region. So we see that we need to leverage some of the key aspects of this AUKUS Pact, especially Pillar 2 of the AUKUS Pact, beyond as well, so that we can enhance capabilities and collaborations between both space and defense areas. One of the things I can touch on is essentially technology sharing. And technology sharing, it's really key, and also it forms part of building our sovereign capability and defense requirements as well. Access to advanced technologies. I think it's both ways. One is there's a lot of advanced technologies from US and the UK as well, but we can't underestimate our local technology because we have remote operations, one of the top in the world, when it comes to mining, oil and gas. So it's both ways. And then collaborative R&D projects. That's where, the R&D starts happening. It's already started, but, just a few companies, but cross-industry collaboration becomes very, very important. It's international collaboration, economic opportunities, so mainly around the investments. I think we need more investments for space sector in Australia. So we need to build the brand. We need to build what we stand for in the space sector, so that people are attracted to what we do. And I think we already have a lot of branding in the mining and oil and gas sector, and enhancing and leveraging that key capabilities, even shipbuilding for the matter, right? We got really good shipbuilders as well, really top technology people, top talent people, which can sort of, literally work in this sector, and the cultures as well. I used to joke and say to my team, hey, you just wear high vis and boots to go to the BHP side or Rio Tinto side or something like that. Just change over to the awesome Space Angel high vis or shirt, and you move to the Space Angel spaceport to work there. We are the only state, I would say, in the country. I'm not saying other states don't do it, but I think in a large way, we are the only state who understands fly-in, fly-out working culture.
Very true. Yep.
Okay. So for us to operate these spaceports in these regional locations, we are already we know this.
Well trained.
We're very well trained. Culture is there. Every family understands how to deal with this. So you can see how these things fit in really well into what we need to do. But coming back to AUKUS, this is what I mean by economic opportunities are great. Training and workforce development, skills development is very, very important. Global leadership, positioning Australia in the global stage, that's really key. Then the aspects of emerging space industry itself. So local capacity building. So WA has witnessed a growing interest in this sector, investments, technology capabilities, things are happening there. But our presence now, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of downstream, but we need to bring in the upstream. And once the upstream comes in, it's like go to space, come back from space. You just need to enable the go to space, right? So when we bring in the go to space piece, we'll have the full cycle of the whole thing. So can you imagine the amount of capability that we're going to build locally? And then collaborations with local businesses, all right? So we are already doing that, collaborating with local businesses, cross-sector, cross-industry, because when we build space infrastructure, we're just not only building, initially they'll be just focused on launch and returns activities or returns and launch activities in terms of sequence. But, somebody needs to eat, somebody needs to have medical facility care, look after those things. We need to have GPs, we need to have, you see where I'm going with this?
Yes, yeah.
So there's small and medium businesses, it plays a key part. We still love our coffee. I want good coffee at our spaceports. So that's really important.
It's quite an ecosystem.
Yeah. However, the robot machines still need maintenance support.
Of course.
So
programming.
That's exactly right. We want to bring these things. It's very important for regional business development, period, especially in the Nullarbor area.
Yes.
So that's quite important. Then space and regulatory environment. What we have here in Western Australia, we have the government support already. We got great government support, from all departments, from our leaders, as well as the other thing which we need to really take into consideration, the political stability. We've had great political stability. I think, rightly or wrongly, being a Western Australian during COVID period, we had the lowest amount of deaths and things like that. So I think that we have some facts to back it up. It's not all, At the same time, of course, it's an argument within the country, but it's also important to recognize the outcomes of what happened, right?
And the benefits of isolation.
The positive side of being isolated, right?
Yeah.
We're isolated anyway. We just decided to close the door for a long period of time. But anyway, the other thing is the AAA rating of the government stability. So that's also something that we need to note. Not many states are on the surplus. And so therefore, to promote an industry such as this is the perfect timing for it. And the amount of space activities that are going on are tremendous. So that, therefore, I think what's really important for us to recognize that this is very important. However, I think the frameworks are already in the works. Okay, it'll take some time.
Yes.
And when I say frameworks, is sort of we are well set up for mining and oil and gas, but we slowly need to sort of start working towards this other industry.
Pivoting.
Yeah, and diversification, right? And that's one of the state strategies.
Yep.
And if we have already put it in the strategy, we need to start executing the strategy.
Yes.
And I think the government's already doing that. But it's the beginning, and and we will help shape some of these things as well, because depending on the type of activities that are going on. So I think that's quite important to note that not many countries in the world can offer this sort of thing. We're building a critical infrastructure, a spaceport. It's like a shipping port. You plan a shipping port for 50 years. You plan a spaceport for 100 years.
Yep.
Like, where are you going to go and put your infrastructure or invest in something that's going to be for 100 years, where it's going to be showcasing that stability? We've been doing mining for years.
Yep.
So we've already got some history to say that, hey, guess what? The state exports about $400 billion worth of, or more than that, worth of mining exports anyway. So, we are fairly very stable and a strong economy on its own.
Yeah.
And it's only going to grow with the space sector.
So Space Angel is dedicated to being very much a sustainable green space.
Yeah. So both upstream and downstream as well. But also every company that we want to partner, where we're working with, we want to ensure that it sort of drives towards that sustainable practices, because we want it to be lasting for a long period of time, and also go through the test of time as well. It's not depending on the flavor of the month. We've had, corporate social responsibility. We've had all sorts of names called ESG now, we call it. But that's not the point. The point is that we need to learn how to live sustainably.
Yes.
And that's very, very important. And it needs to be part of the, the mantra or the actual ethos of what we're trying to do. So, however, WA has a unique natural environment that aligns with, what we're doing in the space sector. Because there's a lot of renewable energy initiatives that's already happening right close to where we are in nuclear. There's already sort of hydrogen projects, solar projects, and things like that. So how nice is that? Like, we may not need to even do our own sort of operations in terms of renewable energy. We could just partner with some of these companies and say, hey, we would like power from your hydrogen facility, and as an outcome, they have a lot of excess water waste, so they could help the rocket launch. So it's sort of symbiotic.
Yes.
In regards to the relationships, right? So this is fantastic. So I think that's quite important, and then research opportunities as well. So We have a lot of that square kilometer array projects and all the other projects that we're working on. We can't do everything. We can't be good at everything. We will be working with the others. But the spaceport also offers a lot of that capacity to bring other players into the mix. So if we're going to go to space, and we may want to have some training sites for the astronauts to train, in the future, to come to that site and do your training and so on. So that could be one.
Yeah.
It could be other type of research aspects as well. I know that region, we collect a lot of meteorites already.
Yes.
So, that could be a bit more formalized at our spaceport, in terms of that sort of activity. So there's so much to be done. I think it's quite important to note the research aspects as well. And then strategic international positioning. This is super key. Our proximity to the Asian market. Who else is there?
Yeah. And
I mean,
the same time zone.
Absolutely. And a lot of the Indo-Pacific region, the Asian region, in terms of access, they don't have this much of amount of land or space. So therefore, we could facilitate these partnerships and so on, collaborations, trade opportunities. So that's really important. Community engagement, education, that's also areas of interest. Promoting the STEM education, inspiring the future generations, that's really important. Pursuing careers, this is very, very grassroots, where we need to foster public support and help build a skilled workforce. I'd say instead of high-vis and boots, how about scientists and research capability that's brought in. I'm not saying there isn't, I'm just saying that the capacity that we are talking about, it's a whole range different.
Certainly one of the key objectives of the current government is STEM. They're putting a lot of infrastructure in place to encourage STEM education. So it aligns perfectly with what you guys are doing.
Absolutely. I think it's really key. And I'd like to see my current 9-year-old to eventually be part of that ecosystem and doing something. And it could be wanting to be an astronaut or wanting to be an engineer as part of that sector. Or, we're doing a lot of other amazing things in terms of leading research like hypersonics as well. So, there's so much potential. And remote in-situ operations, I talked about in-situ operations, like we are really good at remote operations from a mining sector perspective, but in-situ operations takes it to the next level. You need AI and a whole range of things. So, these are the things that, we could be doing. So I think, we're well positioned for it.
I need to ask you, for the people who are interested in space but aren't necessarily space nerds, can you talk a little bit about what is equatorial and polar orbit? What does that mean?
So the equatorial orbits, or we call it geostationary orbits, all right, circle the Earth's equator and at an altitude where satellites can match the planet's rotational speed. All right, making them to appear stationary from the ground. All right, so these are the orbits essential for things like communications, satellites, where they provide uninterrupted communications coverage for large regions, making them ideal for telecommunications, television broadcasting, and weather monitoring.
Right.
Then comes some of the Earth observation aspects, where they use near equatorial orbits to capture consistent imagery of specific regions, and particularly for meteorological purposes. Then the last part is mainly what you already know in terms of navigation, GPS, satellite navigation systems often rely on these sort of equatorial orbits and for obvious global coverage. Polar orbits passed over the Earth poles, right? Allowing satellites to cover almost the entire planet as Earth rotates beneath them. And these are crucial for Earth observation and remote sensing, where Satellites in this orbit can take the image of the entire surface of the Earth over time, and making them ideal for environmental monitoring. Very, very crucial with all the climate changes that we are experiencing.
Yes.
Disaster response, and resource management. It's really important for Australia and other parts of the world, for sure. Scientific missions, where polar orbits used for climate and atmospheric research, and allows satellites to monitor the polar ice caps, oceans, land mass over time. Military and surveillance, so used by defense agencies for reconnaissance and surveillance, as satellites observe areas of strategic interest from different angles. So these are the two sort of, focus areas in terms of differentiating what's, polar or equatorial orbits.
Certainly the equatorial and polar orbits was something that grabbed my imagination immediately when we started talking about it. So very interesting stuff. Thank you, Ram.
Thank you.
Next episode, we're going to be talking about what is next on the agenda for Space Angel. If you want to find out more, head to the website spaceangel.io. You can also email Ram for more information, theforce@spaceangel.io.